So I'm tying the Candy Split Blob. The Candy Split Blob, first introduced to this fly, I believe by Rob Edmonds about 12 years ago. Some people do well with it fish static. For me, I catch a lot of fish pulling it really fast on dye lines, so each to their own. Anyway, here's how I tie mine. So I'm using an eliteflies competition barbless blob hook, size 10. And the thread that I'm going to use is uni thread 17.0. This is really thin thread, but for me it's strong enough for tying blobs and mini lures, and I prefer a nice little head on the blob. The smaller the better. It's just my personal preference. So run the thread on, go past the point of the hook as shown, trim off the excess. Now for the tail, we're going to use some Pearl Flash. This is an eliteflies product too, be available soon. So get a good bunch of that from the end of the hank, and you want to trim off about 8 centimeters, 10 centimeters with the scissors, and then you're going to offer that up onto the top of the hook shank about 3/4 of the way down. Secure that on. That's going to create a nice even body. Run the thread down again past the point of the hook. Nice and tight. Now that's secured. This fly I'm tying it to international rules. If you're not fishing competitions, that's fine, but I do, so I'm going to use a gauge. So that's as big as I'm allowed, so I'm going to trim it there. You wouldn't really want it any longer than that, to be honest. The fritz, GM Blob Fritz, GM7 Fluorescent Yellow. Again, an eliteflies product. You can only buy this from us. It's really nice to work with, and it's dyed by me. I've been a professional dyer of materials for over 15 years now. Catch that in. There's no need to pull off any fibres. You pay a lot of money for your materials. Why waste them? That's my opinion. Secret to tying blobs the way I do is water, and lots of it. So have a little pot of water near your vise, dab your fingers in, and then you want to start turning it back the opposite way to the thread. Every turn you want to stroke the fibres back and keep stroking them back. Keep stroking them back. Having the fritz wet really does help you to do this as well. And also when you come to fish with the fly, it's a lot quicker to set in the water. You're not waiting for the the fritz to sort itself out. So that's it. You've tied off that fritz with a couple of thread wraps. You've cut the excess. Now we're ready for the marshmallow GM Blob Fritz. So take that out the pack. Again, don't pull any fibres off, there's no need. Catch it in like so. Secure it. It's roughly about halfway down the shank. You want half of the blob to be yellow, half of it to be this marshmallow colour, or candy pink as some people say. So if there are a few fibres sticking out, just get the scissors, just give it a trim if you see them. More water now applied to this, the marshmallow. This just makes it so much easier. So you're turning the fritz now and you're stroking it back. You're packing a nice tight body, getting as much as you possibly can onto the hook. Keep going. Only stop when you think it really is impossible to get another full turn. So you want a gap of 2 or 3 millimeters probably about 2 millimeters that you can see, and you think, yeah, I can't get another turn. Secure that with 2 or 3 thread wraps. Get your scissors, trim the excess off. Good sharp pair of scissors helps with that. Dab of water just helps everything to sweep back, keep everything out of the way. And the reason why I use this 17/0 thread is it's really thin, so I can get lots of turns now to really tidy it up and build up a nice, neat little head. I'm also not the biggest fan of fluorescent thread when it comes to blobs, because I think there's enough going on. And I think if you keep the head nice and neat, I think it's more effective, catches more fish for me. So there we go. Couple of half hitches. Just make sure there's no fibres stuck anywhere. You can use a whip finish, it's up to you, but it makes no difference after you've varnished. I use a half hitch because there's less build up. So you want to trim off the thread. I'm just using Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails as my varnish. You can use whatever head cement varnish you have. Get a good dab of that on. More is better. And then find something that you can put through the eye. This is just a broken hook, and clean it a couple of times like so, and that's it. That's done. The Candy Split Blob. Very good fly. If orange isn't working, if black blobs aren't working, try this. I think it's deadly pulled or fish static, but I'll leave it for you to work out. A lot of people use it on the washing line method, on the point with a couple of nymphs or 3 nymphs above it, but you can fish it on its own. Thanks for watching.